In this video, we'll explore some of the most valuable Australian 50-cent coins still in circulation. These aren't just collectibles. They're pieces of national history that have captured the attention of investors and enthusiasts alike. We'll break down the rare errors, unique production runs, and surprising market values that make these coins so sought after. Stay tuned, and you might discover that the next valuable coin is already in your wallet. Let's moving on. First up, the 1973 Australian 50-cent coin, a gleaming testament to the enduring craftsmanship of the Royal Australian Mint and a symbol of an era, now over half a century past. This coin, struck in the year following Australia's decimal transitions consolidation, represents not merely currency, but the living echo of a nation defining its modern identity. Now, let us examine the coin in exquisite detail. The obverse, designed by the master engraver Arnold Machine, features the youthful effigy of Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II, rendered with striking poise and refinement. Each delicate strand of hair, each subtle contour of the Queen's profile remains crisply preserved, a reflection of the coin's remarkable state of preservation. Under optimal light, the fields exhibit a soft satin sheen, a subdued brilliance that speaks to the careful handling and minimal circulation exposure this coin has enjoyed through its lifetime. Turning to the reverse, we are greeted by the Australian coat of arms, a composition of power and balance, where the emu and kangaroo stand as eternal guardians of national identity. The intricate shield, bearing the emblems of the 6 states, remains bold and precise, its raised relief undisturbed by time's wear. The 12-pointed star, perfectly proportioned above the shield, retains full definition, a feature seldom encountered in coins that have seen even moderate circulation. Minted in cupro-nickel composition, 75% copper, 25% nickel, this coin weighs 1555 grams and measures 31.5 millimeters in diameter. While millions were struck for circulation, few examples today can claim such immaculate preservation. The present specimen has been professionally graded at an exceptionally high level, reflecting superior strike quality, surface integrity, and luster retention. Collectors of mid-20th century Commonwealth coinage will appreciate that the 1973 issue occupies a unique position in Australian numismatics. It emerged at a time of transition, just as earlier decimal releases were beginning to withdraw, yet before the modern mass production standards of the 1980s set in. Consequently, premium condition survivors like this one command tremendous respect and value in the global coin market. Auction records indicate that superior examples of the 1973 50-cent coin, particularly those in brilliant, uncirculated or mint state, 65+ grades, have realized hammer prices exceeding 15,600 AUD, with top-graded pieces achieving even higher sums among serious collectors, seeking completion of post-decimal sets in pristine quality. This coin comes housed in a protective archival capsule. Its edges smooth, its reading crisp and untarnished. Under magnification, the surface reveals an unblemished field, free from distracting marks, confirming its authenticity and original minting integrity. A timeless specimen, perfectly representing the design artistry and minting precision of its era. For those who appreciate Australia's numismatic evolution, this 1973 50-cent coin offers not just historical significance, but enduring investment potential. Do not miss the chance to elevate your collection with this fine example, a coin that embodies both national pride and timeless beauty. Next up, our next offering brings us into the energetic decade of the 1980s, a time of change, confidence, and creative renewal in Australian society, and likewise in its coinage. We proudly present the 1980 Australian 50-cent coin, a magnificent and exceptionally preserved example that bridges numismatic craftsmanship with national symbolism. The 1980 release stands out for its refinement and sharpness of detail, characteristics that distinguish it from many surrounding issues. This coin, also struck in cupro-nickel, 75% copper, 25% nickel, continues the celebrated Arnold Machine portrait of Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II on the obverse, though by this time, subtle adjustments in die preparation and polishing methods had yielded a slightly crisper definition and more reflective fields. The Queen's effigy here radiates both grace and maturity, capturing a monarch in her prime, presiding over a Commonwealth confidently moving forward. The legends Elizabeth II and Australia 1980 are sharply impressed, their relief unmarred, maintaining full rim integrity. The surfaces glimmer under inspection, reflecting a delicate frost against mirror-like fields, a signature of mint state excellence. The reverse continues to bear the Australian coat of arms, as designed by Stuart Devlin, the goldsmith of the Commonwealth, whose artistry elevated Australia's decimal coinage to International acclaim. His rendition remains vibrant. The kangaroo and emu are finely modeled. The feathers and fur lines distinct. The heraldic shield sharply delineated. On this specimen, every cross, lion, and Maltese star within the shield remains fully struck, confirming the precision of die alignment and strength of strike. This particular 1980 issue is notable for its superb planche quality and consistent metal flow lines, attributes that contribute to its distinct luster. Though millions were produced, pristine examples have grown, increasingly scarce as circulation attrition and casual handling have taken their toll over 4 decades. Only a minute fraction of the total mintage survives today in genuinely uncirculated or proof-like condition, making this coin a desirable acquisition for advanced collectors. Its condition has been verified by professional graders and conservators, with the specimen assessed at MS66 or higher, placing it within the top percentile of surviving examples. The coin rests in a custom archival capsule with full authentication and provenance documentation. Market trends have shown a clear upward trajectory for top-graded 1980 50-cent coins. Auction archives from prominent houses such as Downey's and Noble. Numismatics record hammer prices between 14,000 and 18,500 AUD for coins of similar caliber, depending on surface brilliance and certification tier. The investment potential here is not speculative. It is substantiated by consistent collector demand and the rarity of high-grade survivors. In the open market, as we examine its aesthetic once more, the coin gleams with restrained majesty, its reeded edge precise, its weight perfectly balanced at 1555 grams. Each viewing angle reveals the artistry of an era defined by meticulous minting standards and enduring design continuity. In an age when collectors seek authenticity and perfection, this 1980 Australian 50-cent coin delivers both. It is not merely a relic of commerce, but a masterpiece of modern numismatic heritage. Its combination of artistry, historical placement, and investment grade condition ensures that it will command admiration and value for generations to come. Next up, distinguished collectors, esteemed guests, and connoisseurs of numismatic excellence, we now turn our attention to a truly defining specimen. From the latter years of Australia's post-decimal minting tradition, the 1984 Australian 50-cent coin, a remarkable piece that captures the elegance of transition, the evolution of national iconography, and the steady craftsmanship that underpins 4 decades of the Royal Eye, Australian Mint's excellence. This particular coin marks the final full year to feature the Arnold machine effigy of Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II on the obverse, a design that had graced Australian currency since 1966. The following year would introduce Raphael Makhlouf's new portrait, making the 1984 issue a symbolic closing chapter of an artistic era. Collectors and historians alike recognize this as the last salute to Machine's refined vision of the young monarch. A portrait that defined the look of Australian coinage for an entire generation. Struck in cupro-nickel alloy, 75% copper, 25% nickel, the coin retains its classic specifications, 1555 grams in weight and 31.5 millimeters in diameter. Yet beyond those standard parameters lies a brilliance that transcends its utilitarian origins. The specimen offered tonight exhibits immaculate surfaces, the high points of the Queen's effigy untouched by circulation wear, the mirrored fields radiant and undisturbed. Observe the obverse, a gleaming canvas upon which every sculptural line of Machine's artistry remains sharp. Her Majesty's diadem, finely rendered, catches the light in subtle refractions, while the delicate curls of her hair seem almost alive beneath magnification. The surrounding legend, Elizabeth II Australia 1984, is perfectly struck, its lettering precise, raised cleanly from the field with no signs of die fatigue or flattening. The reverse, of course, displays the timeless Australian coat of arms, designed by the illustrious Stuart Devlin, who transformed Australia's decimal coinage into an internationally admired series of miniature sculptures. The emu and kangaroo, symbolic guardians of progress and perseverance, frame the heraldic shield with dignity and poise. Every detail within the shield is crystal clear, from the crosses and stars of New South Wales to the piping shrike of South Australia, from the lion of Tasmania to the black swan of Western Australia. Each device perfectly preserved, each line still as crisp as the day it left the dies at Canberra's mint. What elevates this particular coin beyond the ordinary is its exceptional preservation. Graded at mint state 66 MS66 or finer, it stands among the upper echelons of surviving examples. The surfaces possess a frosted brilliance, the luster swirling across both sides in dynamic cartwheel effect. Under close inspection, no distracting contact marks mark the Queen's portrait or the central shield, a remarkable rarity for a coin produced in such large quantities. While millions were minted for circulation, truly pristine examples like this are extraordinarily difficult to encounter. Decades of handling, environmental exposure, and ordinary commerce have rendered most 1984 50-cent coins dull, worn, or nicked. To find a specimen so immaculate is akin to discovering a hidden gem from a bygone minting age, a coin that has escaped time's touch. In the marketplace, premium 1984 50-cent coin and MS65 Plus grades have steadily appreciated, often realizing auction results between $2,400 and $1,900 AUD, particularly those with superior luster and impeccable strike detail. The appeal is clear. This coin is the last of the machine effigy, a symbolic end to an era of artistic grace in Australian numismatics. For the investor, this coin offers a tangible connection to a moment of transition from one portrait of sovereignty to another. And for the collector, it is an essential anchor in the narrative of Australia's 20th century coinage. The coin before you tonight is not simply currency. It is history minted in metal, beauty preserved in nickel, and artistry sealed in time. Next up, and now, ladies and gentlemen, from the reflective brilliance of the 1980s, we move toward the threshold of a new millennium, to a coin that marked Australia's confident stride into the future while carrying forward its proud numismatic heritage. Presenting the 1999 Australian 50-cent coin, a dazzling and near-pristine specimen from the dawn of the digital age, encapsulating both the tradition and the forward-looking artistry of modern Australian minting. Struck at the Royal Australian Mint in Canberra, this coin bears the third official effigy of Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II, the Raphael Makhlouf portrait, introduced in 1985 and admired for its regal depth and elegant realism. Unlike the youthful grace of the earlier machine depiction, Makhlouf's effigy is mature, majestic, and sculptural in its treatment, a reflection of continuity and confidence. The obverse of this 1999 specimen gleams with a mirror-like sheen, its relief sharply defined. Every element of the Queen's hair, crown, and neckline displays full clarity under magnification, testifying to a superior strike. The lettering, Elizabeth II Australia 1999, is bold and perfectly centered, the rims crisp and full, the edges retaining their original sharp reading, all indicators of mint state or proof-like condition. Turning to the reverse, the familiar Australian coat of arms once again dominates the design. But it is here that Stuart Devlin's enduring genius reveals itself anew. The contrast between frosted devices and brilliant fields, the perfect symmetry of the emu and kangaroo, the clean division of the shield's 6 quarters, each representing a federated state, combine to create an emblem of national pride, etched in metal and preserved for posterity. This particular coin, while part of a large circulation mintage, is an exceptional survivor, a high-grade, uncirculated example showing no trace of handling or contact. Its luster remains uninterrupted across both faces, radiating in concentric waves under light, a characteristic only found in the finest mint-state coins. At the threshold of the 21st century, the 1999 issue holds symbolic and historical resonance. It represents the final pre-millennium 50-cent coin, closing a century of Australian coinage evolution and bridging to the year 2000, which would introduce an entirely new wave of commemorative designs. Thus, this 1999 coin is not merely a year of issue, it is a boundary marker between eras. In numismatic markets, collectors have increasingly recognized this coin's potential, especially in MS67 or higher grades, where examples command auction results from $13,000 to over $14,000 AUD, depending on surface brilliance and strike quality. Its relative modernity belies its scarcity in pristine condition, for most were quickly absorbed into everyday commerce and show signs of wear within months of issue. The specimen presented here tonight has been individually graded and encapsulated for long-term preservation. Under microscopic examination, it reveals no abrasions or spotting, and the metallic surfaces maintain their original mint bloom, a quality seldom encountered even in freshly released coins. As the century turned, this coin stood as a shining token of stability, Australia's enduring confidence, its unity, its values. It remains an artistic masterpiece in its own right, embodying both continuity and change, monarchy and modernity, permanence and progression. Collectors who specialize in late 20th century Australian decimals will instantly recognize the significance of acquiring a flawless 1999 example. It is the capstone of a decade, the guardian of the millennium's threshold, and one of the most aesthetically balanced coins in the entire series. Next up, we now turn our attention to a coin that sits at the very heart of Australia's modern minting legacy, the 2006 Australian 50-cent coin, a splendid and perfectly preserved example of precision engineering, design continuity, and national symbolism that has come to define the 21st century era of Australian coinage. The year 2006 was, in many respects, a period of refinement for the Royal Australian Mint. It represented a consolidation of minting excellence, a year in which technological sophistication met traditional craftsmanship. The result was a coinage that exuded quality, consistency, and elegance. The 50-cent piece, long the flagship of Australia's decimal coin series, stood as a proud emblem of both heritage and innovation. Struck in cupro-nickel alloy, 75% copper, 25% nickel, the coin retains the familiar 12-sided, dodecagonal, form first introduced in 1969. Instantly recognizable and uniquely Australian. Measuring 31.51 millimeters in diameter and weighing 1555 grams, it stands as one of the most substantial circulating coins in the Commonwealth, prized for its distinctive geometry and reassuring heft. The obverse bears the fourth official effigy of Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II, designed by sculptor Ian Rank Broadley, first appearing on Australian coins in 1999. In this rendition, Her Majesty is depicted with realism and dignity, a mature and stately portrayal, capturing both the passage of time and the enduring grace of the monarch. The initials IRB rest just below the neckline, a subtle signature of the artist's mastery. On this particular specimen, the obverse detail is exceptional. Each element of the Queen's portrait, from the glint of the diadems, jewels to the softness of the curls at the nape, remains sharp and unblemished. The fields exhibit mirror-like luster, free of haze or abrasion, suggesting that this coin has never known the touch of circulation. Under magnification, the surfaces shimmer with a satiny brilliance, the telltale characteristic of Mint State 67 or higher quality. The reverse, designed by Stuart Devlin, proudly bears the Australian coat of arms, a motif as iconic as it is intricate. The emu and kangaroo, symbols of perseverance and progress, flank the shield with regal poise. Within the shield, the emblems of each state remain crisply defined: the Maltese Cross of Queensland, the Piping Shrike of South Australia, the Lion of Tasmania, each element perfectly struck, each detail distinct. This particular coin's surfaces are of extraordinary preservation. The raised devices are frost-like in texture, contrasting exquisitely with the brilliant mirrored fields beneath. There are no visible contact marks, no loss of relief, and no metal fatigue, evidence that this coin was carefully preserved from the moment of striking. From a numismatic standpoint, the 2006 50-cent coin occupies a subtle yet significant position. It is among the last standard issues before the proliferation of frequent commemorative designs that would dominate later years. Thus, it represents one of the final classic coat of arms issues of the Rank Broadley portrait era, a connection to the timeless aesthetic of Australia's foundational decimal designs. In auction markets, high-grade uncirculated 2006 50-cent coins have shown steadily increasing interest, particularly from collectors seeking full Mint State sets of the Rank Broadley effigy years. Coins in MS67 and MS68 grades have been known to achieve hammer prices, between 8,500 and 9,000 AUD, with even greater values realized when accompanied by certification and provenance. This coin is presented encapsulated in an archival-grade capsule, with fully documented grading and origin. Its brilliant luster, sharp edges, and uniform tone confirm its authenticity and preservation integrity. The 2006 Australian 50-cent coin is not simply a piece of metal. It is a reflection of national identity rendered through precision minting. It bridges history and modernity, a continuation of Devlin's heraldic legacy, and a portrait of a sovereign whose likeness has defined the nation's coinage. For over half a century, collectors who value both artistry and perfection will find in this specimen a jewel worthy of their collection, a coin of enduring elegance, historical balance, and remarkable physical condition. Next up, we now come to a coin that stands as a shining emblem of contemporary Australian minting artistry, the 2008 Australian 50-cent coin, a modern masterpiece that embodies the enduring continuity of the nation's decimal heritage, coupled with the precision and refinement characteristic of 21st century minting standards. The year 2008 saw the Royal Australian Mint operating at peak technological sophistication. Through innovations in die preparation and quality control, the Mint produced coins of extraordinary sharpness and brilliance, setting a benchmark for the next generation of collectors. The 50-cent denomination, long the cornerstone of Australian numismatic design, retained its noble 12-sided geometry, its unmistakable tactile and visual appeal. Composed of cupro nickel, 75% copper, 25% nickel, with a weight of 15.55 grams and a diameter of 3151 millimeters, this coin carries forth a legacy that traces directly back to the earliest days of decimal coinage. Yet within that continuity lies a renewal. The coin you see tonight is the product of superior die polish, precise pressure calibration, and a minting process that achieved near-proof-like detail even in circulation issues. The obverse presents the distinguished Ian Rank Broadley portrait of Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II, first introduced in 1999. In this depiction, the Queen's features are strong and lifelike, conveying not only dignity but also realism, a deliberate move away from the idealized portraits of earlier decades. On this specimen, the effigy is rendered in flawless relief, each strand of hair distinct, each jewel of the tiara perfectly defined, each inscription, Elizabeth II Australia 2008, clear and sharp against the radiant field. Under angled light, the obverse surface displays the mesmerizing cartwheel effect, a luminous spin of reflected light that only the highest quality uncirculated coins can exhibit. There is no trace of bag marks, no haze, and no surface abrasion. The rim edges are perfect, the reading crisp, and the metallic sheen uniform from center to edge. Turning to the reverse, the viewer encounters once more the Australian coat of arms, masterfully sculpted by Stuart Devlin, whose genius in design is as relevant today as it was in 1966. The emu and kangaroo appear almost alive in their stance, the national shield between them balanced with geometric harmony. The depth of the engraving and the contrast between frosted and polished surfaces highlight Devlin's timeless eye for proportion and relief. This particular specimen, graded in the MS67 Plus to MS68 range, stands at the pinnacle of preservation. Even under 10x magnification, there is an absence of blemish, a rare feat for a coin more than 15 years old. The surfaces are original and uncleaned, their natural luster unbroken. The fields retain the distinctive subtle toning that develops from years of stable storage in controlled conditions, adding warmth and depth to its visual appeal. While the 2008 mintage was numerically large, the number of coins that have survived in such pristine state is vanishingly small. Most examples entered immediate circulation and suffered loss of brilliance within weeks. The current specimen, however, remained protected, a survivor in full mint bloom, representing the absolute best of its kind. Market data and auction records reveal an increasing demand for top-grade, post-2000 Australian decimals, particularly those preserving the Rank Broadley effigy. Collectors now recognize that securing early 2000s mint state coins in certified high grades is becoming increasingly challenging, as attrition and casual storage continue to deplete the population. Coins such as this have achieved auction results between 11,000 and 12,000 AUD, depending on certification body, luster intensity, and strike clarity. Beyond market performance, the 2008 issue occupies a poetic space in numismatic history. It stands as a symbol of continuity, the same design, the same dignity, yet minted in a vastly different world from that of 1966 or even 1980. It represents the unbroken thread of Australian identity in metal, art, and tradition. Presented in an archival capsule and accompanied by professional authentication, this coin gleams with understated magnificence. Its precision and preservation make it a cornerstone specimen, a perfect addition to any collection aspiring toward completeness in modern Australian series. This coin is not merely a collectible. It is a reflection of a nation's artistry and a tribute to the enduring standards of the Royal Australian Mint. Token of elegance, history and pride struck in metal and preserved in time. Thanks for watching and happy collecting.